Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble one of these Logitech TrackMan wheel. This is a trackball mouse. Okay, first thing, we're going to have to undo the screws on the bottom. If you're wondering, this ball does come out. If you have good grip, you can grab that and pull this out, okay? Make sure you don't lose this ball. Here you can see a lot of times this stuff will get like dirt and gunk in it, so you do want to clean it out. All you need to do is basically just get a toothbrush and just kind of brush around in there. Alright, if there's gunk on this little lens area, it's an optical mouse, so it basically sees where these dots are moving, and that's how it knows the position. To clean that, I've already done it, but basically you just get like a little bit of paper towel or a cloth, whatever, microfiber cloth, get some isopropyl alcohol, and you just put a little on there, okay? So once you got that on there, flip that over. Make sure you don't have too much. You don't want it to drip into there. So what you do, you saw how little I put, you kind of squeeze it into the dry areas of the paper towel, and that way it won't leak in. And then you just kind of wipe that, okay? And then if you want, dry it up. All right, so make sure that's all nice and dry, and you should be good to go. So there you go, that's all clean now. We're gonna go ahead and put that back in. You don't need to take that out. You'll see we'll actually end up taking this out again, but anyways, we'll use a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. There are 4 screws on the bottom of this TrackMan wheel mouse, so we'll take that out. Keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. I always like to put the same screws back where I got them, so you put it like that, and it's basically going to be in this, like, I don't know, cross pattern, okay? So let's go ahead and take all 4 screws out, and yeah, okay, so we got that. I mean, the screws are pretty much the same, but I always like to put back the same screws where I got them from, so that way if the, what do you call, the threads are any different at all, then it's gonna match up with the basically the cutout that it made into the plastic, okay? So let's go ahead and get the last one out. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, we need to pry this thing apart. So one thing you can do is hold the sides here, and then you can push the ball in. You can see it's opening it up. That helps open this. Okay, so now that we got that, we're gonna go around these sides, okay, and we're gonna lift this off. So you actually want to lift more from this side, okay? So if you hold the bottom and you kind of lift this way, and then you kind of just wiggle it, you can see the ball is coming up with it. If you want, you can push this ball in through there, and there we go. All right, so here is the inside. On this specific one, you can see I put this tape here. I added some JB weld. So basically what happened was the customer, they used this the button so much that it actually wore a little divot into there. I'll have to see if I took a picture of it. I think I took a picture before I did it, so I'll show you what that looks like. Let me use a little flathead screwdriver to fix the tape. Oops. I added tape because the tape I feel isn't going to be as hard on this little physical button here, so you can hear the clicking there, okay, and the clicking there. So I checked the clicking and it seems fine, and then this was the issue. So let me show you if I can peel this back off. I'm gonna align the tape a bit better because the tape, I'm gonna put some new tape actually. So we'll peel this off, okay, and I don't know why, but you can see they made it just this like H shape, and the little white button, it actually goes into the groove here. So you can see how I put the JB Weld epoxy in there. Okay, so there was a little like groove like cut out. So basically the surface is like this, and then because it's being clicked so much, it wore a hole. So basically it had like a little groove. So it was no longer like reaching enough down to click it. So I got some JB Weld, the original JB Weld, black and white stuff. It uses very, very little, just like a little tiny, I just used a screwdriver, 3 different screwdrivers. I used one to pull out a tiny bit of the black, tiny bit of the white, and then I used another one to just stir them all together and just put it along in this little hole here. So I don't know if you can even tell the color difference a little bit. It's darker gray. And then once I piled that on, I put the tape on top to keep the surface flat because I didn't want it to bulge out and stick up. Okay. And you can use any kind of tape you want, but I wanted one that's kind of a little better at keeping itself together. So I don't know, I haven't really tested different tapes to see what works best because this isn't something I fix every day. But I use this Kapton tape, which is technically like a high temperature, I mean, it's not technically, it is a high temperature electrical tape. Okay. So, and also the adhesive isn't like super strong. It doesn't get all sticky and goopy. So that's why I chose to use this. Okay. So I just cut a small piece off like this. Okay. And this time I probably cut way too much actually, but let's see. Okay. So I took this tape after I put the JB Weld there, and then I stuck this on. Okay. So basically just get it lined up in the middle. Okay, and then I just wrap this over the edges. Okay, and you can use like a screwdriver or whatever you can use that will let you push that tape down. So I have this little thing, and I'm just gonna push it down. Okay, and then keep that flat. So the way I kind of scraped it flat is I used one of these, and then I went along the H so that both sides are lined up, and just went like that. Okay, and then we'll just tape this edge over. And there we go. So for this repair, that's all that was needed because this thing, the groove was damaged here. So it took me a little while to find out what was wrong. It was really dirty inside. If I still have some pictures, I'll post that as well. I didn't do the complete before. I didn't think to take pictures of it before I started cleaning it. But I cleaned it, and yeah. I do have some pictures of it slightly dirty, but not when it was like completely filled with gunk. So the original mouse, this whole scroll wheel had a bunch of hairs and stuff in it and gunk all underneath everywhere because you use it if there's stuff on your fingers or if just dust and stuff land on it and you roll this, that stuff gets pulled in under there. Okay, so anyways, you can see we have this scroll wheel. This doesn't have a removable connector. It's soldered on. So if you needed to take this out for some reason, okay, be careful, don't break this ball. We'll set that aside. Okay, so if you needed to separate these pieces, you can see there's like these 6 pins here that are soldered there. The thing is, if you desolder it, you need to figure out where the wires came from. So you can see it has 3 flat wires here and here. But if you take them out, it's going to be hard to figure out which one went where. If you're wondering, let's see. So this flat cable lines up with the one on the outside. So the one closer to the outside here is also closer to the outside here. And it's basically a straight line. So this one goes to that, the middle one goes to the middle, and then the one on the right will go on the right, assuming you kind of straighten it out to line up like that. But it does curve over like this, okay? And then same thing with the one underneath. It's the same layout, okay? All right, and here you can see there's the little infrared light. So that's how the ball lights up and reads the track position. There's 2 of them, one there and one there, okay? And then they shine through this little infrared light thing that only lets the infrared light through, I believe. Kind of like the old TV remotes where if you push the button, if you've ever put like a camera to it while you're using it, you'll actually see the little light flash. The infrared is actually invisible, but I think this uses one where it's actually also red. Okay, anyways, next thing we're gonna do, we don't need to take any of this stuff out, but if you for some reason had these buttons break, so in this case the buttons aren't broken, you can see they click really well, right? And also you can take this track wheel off, but be careful because there is a spring there. So if you end up taking it out, you are going to have to put the spring back properly. So let me see if I can show you. Okay, so here, this scroll wheel, if I pull this up, be careful because you don't want the spring to go flying away. So you can pull this whole thing like straight up, and you can see how this thing, this is what controls the thing. You can actually hear it clicking, and you can see the little thing moving inside there. So that's how the little track wheel moves. And I don't know how it really Oh, okay. So the way this works, you see these little holes in here? There's a little, you see this light? So this is another infrared light, and there's a sensor on this side. So basically, as you scroll the wheel, the light goes through these little holes, and it tells it that the little holes are moving around, okay? So that's how it can know. All right, as for the spring here, so you have this spring, and it's like a V, okay? So it doesn't matter which way, you can turn it either way because it's symmetrical, it doesn't matter. But you do have to open it up slightly like this to put it back on here. I'll show you that in a bit, but let's go ahead first and pop out this little board so you can see underneath. So this board, most likely, if you're using it, this is a clicking button, this is a clicking button, this is the middle, this is the left, and this is the right. If you break these buttons, you can replace them. I'm not exactly sure what they're called. You can look up like mouse buttons. This is OMRO. Wait, what? Omron? Okay, Omron. That's what it says. OMRON. All right, anyways, there are these clips on the sides here that we need to pull to the side to pull up the board. So if you want to take this out, so basically you pull this clip over to the side so it's no longer over the board, and then you can actually pull this up. So you'll pull up slightly a little bit. Once you get this side up, don't pull it too far because there's this raised post here. And if you pull it too far, you'll end up breaking the board. Okay, so now we gotta get the other side out. So to do that, you pull this clip aside, and then same thing, but you can lift from under here, okay? And lift that up, all right? So now you can see we got this out. You can see it has these cables on there as well. So you got these three, and it's as if you rotate this whole board. Sorry, if you rotate this whole board over, then these cables go straight to there, and then these cables go straight to the one behind it. And there's 4 pins, and I think this one has 5 actually. So the other one has 5 pins, okay? So don't mix that up. If the mouse button is broken, you can see it has 3 little solder things on the back. So if you break it, you'll have to solder these 3. You basically heat that up with a solder iron, and then you can actually pull this out and separate it, okay? Then this one, the middle one, has these 3 here, and then you got the other one with these 3 here, okay? So these are probably the main things that will break for most people if it's not the plastic piece that I had to repair, which I'm actually surprised that this little white button wore that other piece out. Hopefully with the new repair with that tape there, it's not going to wear out the button. But if it does, it hopefully will be like a long time from now. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and put this thing back together, okay? You don't really need to take this board out, so I'm not going to worry about it, but there is a clip on the top here, and then, oh yeah, once you undo this clip, you can lift this portion up, and then you slide it out this way because it's basically slid underneath this plastic piece, okay? But I don't see any reason you would need to take that board out. These pieces are very unlikely to go bad, okay? So let's go ahead and get this thing back on. So just flip this, rotate it back over, and you have the little post here and the post down there. So make sure they just line up with the holes in this board, okay? So we'll just get that, line it up, and get everything lined up, and then you just push it down, okay? All right. So there we go. Oh, it's kind of tough to push that down. You might have to go like side by side to it. And then if you want, you can help it by pulling this, actually pull that clip out to help it. Yeah, that works way better. So since you can reach that, pull the clip out, and then you can push it down a lot easier. Okay, so there we go. I got all of that back in. And yeah, so their mouse was having issues. It wasn't clicking, and that's because it wore down the plastic around it, okay? So this piece, you actually want to line up here first. So you see this little thing sticking out, there's a little groove there, so that goes there, and then the other pieces line up and go into these little slots there, okay? So that's how you get that in. So line up that in the middle, and then if you have it right, you can see it stays in that place, okay? All right, very simple. To make it easier to line up everything, you can put this ball back in there first, okay? And you can see it just sits in there. All right, this piece, actually, let's move this out of the way first so you can see this a little bit better. So again, this piece has a little spring here, you're gonna have to use something to do this. I don't think you can do this with just by hand. This black piece, you can see these rails here, so that goes into the slot here. You can see the slot side by side. So when you go and put that down, it will just slot in there. So if I take the spring out, you can see it easier, okay? So you just slot it in. You see how easy it slots in? And again, there's no physical like electronical link to this wheel. It just uses the light through these little holes to tell it. You see the light goes in between here, and it can basically see when this thing is spinning around, okay? So we'll drop that in, okay? Then, let me actually take the ball out so I don't drop it. Okay, then we got this portion where we need to get the screws, or not the screws, the spring. And the spring needs to go on top of this plastic piece and on top of that plastic piece. So when you go to put this on, it's not going to just drop in there easily. So you need to first get this in, and you can see the one that's close to the wheel, sorry, will hit the top. You don't want it to do that. You want it to go down here, okay? And you can actually see, let me see if I can show you that. You can see there's a little thing that holds the spring there. So let me get that in, and then you'll be able to see. But basically what I like to do is, so we'll get this side in, sorry, you can see. We'll get this side down there because there's the little cutout there to hold it. And then once you do that, you can use like a screwdriver or something, and you can lift this side up. You might have to pull the wheel out a little bit, okay? So make it go above, and then you can see how it sticks up. And then you can go ahead and pull that. Oops. Yeah, it's kind of tricky, this one. All right. So actually, it'll be easier to use like tweezers. What do I do with my little tweezers here? I don't know where I put my good tweezers. They disappeared for some reason. Oh, here they are. Okay. So we got some little tweezers. This will make it easier because I can actually then grab it. But basically, you need to pull this up slightly enough, and then you need to pull the spring, and we need to make it go on both sides here. So raise that. Jeez, come on, stay in your place. It's a little tricky, this part. All right, this is probably the hardest part of it. Get that lined up, okay? And then get that. Oop. He keeps wanting to go back down. So I don't know if there's probably an easier way to do this. So let me see. If you start like this on the wheel, okay? And then you can hold both open like this, but then while you do that, you have to slot this back down. So you can hold both open like this, and then get this into that slot. Right, sorry, I know it's hard to see this. This is the hardest part, so it's hard to do this and even record it. So, but basically you get that in, lower it down, oops, and it didn't go in right. Okay, so get that, hold that out, and try and get it to latch on right. Come on. Yeah, this is, I don't even know how I did it the first time. Like, I didn't have this hard of a time doing it the first time. Maybe recording it makes it harder. Okay, so got that one in there. And now we'll kind of slowly lift. And the problem is they both have to engage at the same time. I don't know if there's a tool or easy way to do this. I think a tool you can use is if you have a flat like, oh, actually, okay, I think I know. So have this spring going on the outside here, and then we're gonna go ahead and first get this one on, the one on the inside in, okay? So let's see if that will work. So first, get this lined up, get the inside one in, right? So you see that, okay? So the one on this side is in. Now, what we do is we should be able to go from this side and then lift it around the outside and then rotate it inside like this, right? There we go. Yep, that worked. And then that spring helps do it. Okay, so I'm going to show you again one more time since now I can do it easily. So we'll go ahead and carefully pull this back up. You can see, line up this side, okay? So you get this one hooked on over there. Then, because this one is now free and loose, you go from this side and then you kind of pull it up and then bring that over, okay? Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. All right, so there is a trick to it. That's how you do it. Hopefully that helped. Let's go ahead and reassemble this. Okay, so we got this piece again. Line that up. There we go. Zoom this out. All right, we'll get this ball back in there. And then you'll get this ball and then this in. So get that ball first. Then we'll make sure to line that up. And then lower it down, drop it into place. And there we go. So you can see, clicky, clicky. Okay, before this side wasn't clicking very well. Now it's really good. All right, now all that's left is to put back the screws and we're good to go. Sorry, the process of putting that spring took longer than expected. You get to see my suffering because I had to suffer doing this. So you can see the process it takes for me to learn and figure this stuff out. A lot of people ask me, how do I learn this stuff? How do I figure it out? And that's how I learn it. That's how I figure it out. You basically look at pieces, try and understand how things go together, and by doing that, you end up getting better and better at looking at things and trying to figure out how things go together and how they work. Because most of the things, there's only so many ways you can attach things together, or so many ways that make sense, unless they're trying to make some kind of weird puzzle or make it impossible. So, yeah. All right, let's get the rest of these screws in. If you notice, I like to turn the screws backwards to make sure that they thread in properly. And if it becomes difficult, so if I were to just twist it, you see now it's kind of hard to twist. So I'll go backwards. I'll feel it click. That means it dropped into the threading. And then I'll tighten it. And you can see how easy it is for me to twist this right now. Okay, that's how you know that the screws are going in the right direction or in the right way, because you want the screw to go straight down through the original threading. You don't want it going at an angle and then creating new holes, bending, destroying more of the plastic, and then it's going to break. So here you can see this is good. The JB Weld, you do want to let it set for at least 15 hours to be completely sure. 24 hours to be completely sure. But 15 hours is usually enough, okay? But yeah, this thing doesn't take that much force, but if you're gonna immediately go into like click, 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 I would wait at least 24 hours. Again, the tape does help there. I'm sure there's other materials you can probably use to put there instead, but JB Weld I found usually is pretty good, especially since I could pretty much mold it to the shape of that groove that got carved out. Okay, and now it's good. All right, so hopefully this video helps some of you guys repair some of these old mice. They don't make them anymore, so it's good to try and save as many as you can if you like these mice. A lot of people like these mice, but you can't find them anymore unless it's like used. So hopefully that will keep these mice going a lot longer. Hopefully you guys will be able to figure out and repair them. The mouse buttons are pretty standard, I believe. I've had people bring me other mice and it looks pretty much the same exact thing. Maybe different colors sometimes, but it's pretty much the same. Alright, so again, hopefully this video helped. If it did, like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. And also, if you can subscribe to my other channel, It's Been Reviewed, basically the same profile picture but zoomed in. That'll help me out a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.